Hey, podcast. Today we're hanging out with City Lift Parking. They're a manufacturer of automated car parking systems. Really excited about this episode. It's a topic I always wanted to learn more about, and hopefully you get to learn a little more about it today after listening to this episode. Hope you enjoy. This is Lester Mascon, and this is Parker X, and today we're with Melissa Kakuk from City Lift Parking. How are you, Melissa?
I'm great, thanks.
So thanks for coming on the show. We're a nice WeWork location in downtown LA.
Yes.
It's kind of a cool spot. I haven't been here. I haven't been to this one before.
Yeah, this is a cool one. Very cool building. Downstairs in the lobby, they're always featuring a different artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So you have to check in on your way out.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us. So you've been with City Lift now for 4 years?
Yeah, just over 4 years.
Okay. So is that your first role in parking, or?
Yeah. So.
Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, my laptop's making noise.
Yeah. So City Lift has been around for just over 4 years, and I have been with them since it started. I did not have a background in parking. I do have a background in construction and real estate acquisitions. And the CEO of City Lift was my COO at my previous job, which is Starwood Waypoint.
Okay. What kind of construction was it all?
Residential.
Yeah. Okay.
So very different than commercial. So it's been quite the learning curve for sure.
Here in Los Angeles or?
For my background?
Yeah,
I'm born and raised here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So your CEO, you said your COO went to City Lift, and then
he went to City Lift once Waypoint went public.
Okay.
He left shortly after that and started City Lift. And I just happened to reach out and see what he was up to these days. He's the kind of boss where you go, hey, wherever he goes, I'll go.
Want to be there.
Yeah, he's
That's
just
cool.
A great person to work
It's
for.
awesome when you find people like that.
Yes, exactly. So when we did catch up, he said, hey, I'm doing this thing. And he started explaining it, and I had no idea what he was talking about. Like I was telling you, I didn't even know parking was a thing. And now I love parking, and people find that funny, but I think
it's
parking is very
story,
exciting.
That's the standard story. Either everybody was like, I think I'll just do this for like a little bit.
Yeah.
Or they get, yeah.
Right.
That's funny.
Right. Especially when you go to those parking shows.
Yeah. That really hooks you in.
Yeah. But I like telling people, when you go into an underground garage, do you know how much this space cost?
I know. It's amazing.
People don't even think about it.
We went through that with Jonathan, like the cost, like, as you
Yeah.
go lower, like it gets more and more expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm interested in City Lift. Matter of fact, I was talking with Jonathan Wicks about it a little bit, just kind of about the ability to, better utilize some of the space that we have instead of building new facilities, or if you are building a new facility, being able to have better use of it. So
right.
Where's City Lift based out of now?
So we're based out of Oakland.
Okay.
So most of our installations
Is
right
it a
now.
U.S. company started in
Yes.
the United States? Nice.
Yeah, so we're based in Oakland.
Okay.
I'm here in LA. We have an office in Boston, Miami. When I started, there was 3 of us. Now I've lost count.
Wow. How many installations have you guys done in the U.S.?
We have about 1,200 spaces up in operation, fully turned over. We have 138 projects altogether, and they vary in different stages, whether it be in planning, in manufacturing, in the middle of construction. And that is probably about 6,000 spaces all in all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Is it mostly in Oakland, or is it?
Well, let's see. Oakland and San Francisco is definitely where the most density of our systems are.
Okay.
But we have installations in Boston, New York, Portland, Oregon, Wisconsin, if you could believe that. Wisconsin beat LA. How is that?
Really?
Yeah. But we actually have our first installed project just finishing up construction right now here in the city of LA.
Where's that at?
It's in Hollywood.
Okay. Can you talk about it more? Or?
Actually, I can't.
Okay.
And that's
all right.
Yeah, I had to sign an extensive NDA on that one, but it does exist.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Which is kind of funny. I have to tell people, we have one. I just can't tell you about
Can't
it.
tell you anything about it yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see it soon.
Yes.
So so I've gone through the website a little bit, and I looked at kind of some of the different products, and there seems to be quite a range of what you can do. So kind of Who's your core customer right now? Like, who are you mostly working with now?
Yeah, so it's, it's kind of morphed and changed in the beginning, and still we are definitely heavily loaded in the multifamily arena. That's just where all the construction is going.
So that must be more of an industry term, I think, of like
in apartments, condos, things like that. Now we're seeing a more rise in retail. We definitely have our mixed use and office space for sure.
So that's got to be huge for you that now that they're kind of relaxed on some of the number of spaces required per square foot in some of these office buildings and some of the residential.
Yeah, so that's interesting because Oakland and San Francisco have probably one of the lowest parking requirements. So there are many areas it's 0, or they have a maximum you can use, but yet that's one of our busiest markets. And even here, or in areas where they have the reduction in spaces for TOD or whatever it is, there's still a difference between saying...
What's TOD?
Oh, trans-oriented development. Okay. So, if you're near a public transportation, you could get a reduction in that parking requirement.
Okay.
And so, but what happens is it's one thing to say, oh, the city says I only have to build this much, but then understanding what the user, what your renter is going to demand.
What the actual needs are. Exactly.
Okay.
So what's the primary product for those environments?
Really the puzzle system. So we have, just like you had started to mention, there's different types of systems. And really what our job is from the beginning, when we meet with the client, typically the developer or the architect, in some cases the GC.
Are you more retrofit or is it more during construction?
We can retrofit. The problem is most garages don't have the clear height needed in order to retrofit. We have one retrofit in Oakland. We have some, of course, if it's a surface parking lot, that's not an issue, but typically we're going inside of a building in some sort. So you can have anywhere from your basic stacker, which is really valley operated, to your fully automated system, which is the stuff that people say, oh, like in Mission Impossible.
Okay.
And I say, yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard the reference enough to know there's a fully automated system in that movie.
So that would be so the basic stacker is just like the single car lift?
Yeah, we don't do too many of those really. We really focus on and believe that the best product is the puzzle system. And what that is imagine your basic stacker that you have to be very familiar with, right? Where you have to move the bottom space to get to the top space, right? So it's very, you need some manual labor, some bodies to be able to move the cars around.
It's time consuming too,
Yes, right? Very. The puzzle system takes that concept, but what happens is the very bottom platform slides over, whether it be to the right or left, to let the top space down. So you're not shuffling cars.
Got it.
So it gives you independent access to every vehicle. And that is probably 80% of our installations.
And that's intended for the actual user, the person parking to be able to use it.
Exactly.
Fully self-park.
Fully self-park.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So what better... You get better utilization of the space, obviously, if you're doing it that way.
You kind of hit on it in the beginning. You're talking about how, you're going subterranean, right, and saving that space. And that is the most expensive part of parking is the more you dig, the deeper you dig, or hitting water tables or just moving the dirt's expensive. So when you
even worse, like dinosaur bones.
Yeah,
and stuff like that happens, right? And when things like that happens, right? They find stuff and...
Right. So you're really saving on excavation, or even if you're not going down, if you're able to take someone's parking requirement and put it in half the space and give them that space back, that's so much more valuable than using
what is the cost,
for
right?
a car.
But it's so far down. Wow.
Yeah.
So what happens if the power goes out?
People ask that all the time.
Am I stuck?
And and you being in automated systems, so if power goes down, and don't say that they go, oh, well, the gate can't open anyhow, right? If there's no power. So you have a couple of options. Really, most people just opt for hey, it'll be a minor inconvenience until power goes up. You can put these on backup generators. Just clients typically don't choose that option.
It's probably a big requirement.
It's a big requirement. Yeah, exactly.
Is there any sort of backup power at all to it, or is it just it's done? If it was in the middle of moving a car and
it's done.
It's done. It just stops right there. But how often does that really happen these days? I suppose,
and then with Uber and Lyft so readily available, and typically you are seeing these in urban areas, that you're going to have another mode of transportation.
Something else available to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not doing this out on a farm in Iowa somewhere?
No, just way too much land. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's cool. Anything new coming up that you can't talk about?
No, I could talk about pretty much all the other projects.
Okay, go.
But so I would say most notable, we have a 7-level puzzle system going in Utah.
Wow.
That one, we have I think it's 240 spaces on a project in Brooklyn. And that one's cool because it's 3 levels above ground. It's one behind the other, so it's tandem on top of being high, and it all shifts around to open up spaces. I just visited that garage last week, and it's just really cool to walk into, because you're really changing the look of parking, right?
Sure.
You know, parking garage is a parking garage until you add automated parking. You're like, hey, this is cool. It really is.
The only one I've been inside is the one there in West Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. And how cool is that?
It was amazing to see the inside of it.
It's a great garage. You just pull in, hit a button, and you're done.
Yeah,
and then,
that's cool.
Yeah,
So how does it change, like the price per square foot change with one of these systems going in versus the traditional facility?
We just had an all company meeting last week. In fact, and we're trying to figure out, what is this magic number? What can you say, we're going to save X amount? And really, we kind of came to the conclusion each project is very different. I can tell you that there's some
You're dedicating
assumptions,
less space overall,
right? Yeah,
right?
yeah. They'll say the deeper you go, obviously, the more square footage it's going to take. So if you're in a 4-level subterranean garage, chances are each space is taking about 450 square feet to get to that vehicle when you calculate drive aisles, ramps, all those sorts of things. With automated parking, you're pretty much cutting that in half. So maybe, if you say, I need to park 200 cars, it's probably going to be about 250 square feet versus 450, which is a big difference.
That's a really big difference.
Really
you can put them
difference.
closer together too, right?
Yeah, you can put them closer together. You figure you're not, when we're talking about fully automated, you don't have to have certain dimensions to make that turn because the machine is turning the car and shelving it in a system.
I think I saw that it was on like a turntable more
Yeah,
than
exactly.
It was on you don't have to do a turn radiuses or anything like
yeah,
that.
exactly. So it really saves on space.
Is it able to figure out too, like the taller vehicles I'll put in a certain space, shorter vehicles can go into other spaces?
Exactly. So heights really depend on what you want to accommodate. So for instance, here's a cool project we're doing in Vail, Colorado. It's a fully automated subterranean garage. And oftentimes people say, well, if I want to park an SUV, how much room do I need? And you kind of have to say, well, hold on, because SUV is a very broad term now, right? Are we talking about crossover SUV? Talking about a Suburban? Anyhow, so we designed this garage. I said, you need to give me the make and model of your target vehicle. And they said, okay, we want to accommodate the 2019 Suburban. So we looked at those, we're like, whoa, that is a big vehicle and in every direction.
I think there's
right?
not much bigger than like a Ford Excursion.
Yeah,
the old diesel
that's true.
One, right?
Yeah, and that everyone says no, forget it. They got to find somewhere else to park, right?
Yep.
So, but then you add, okay, and we want a roof rack.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah,
you got to get their snowboard.
Of course, right? I mean, it's Vail, Colorado, so that's a nice thing of being a fully integrated company like CityLift is. We are not a vendor or a third-party rep for a manufacturer.
Okay.
We develop our own systems, so we could do a lot of, the research and development ourselves, and we could take a client like that and be able to give them what they need rather than say, no, these are our dimensions, and this is what you have to choose from. Take it or leave it, right?
So some vehicles you just may not be able to accommodate, but they're probably few and far between.
Yeah, well, we can accommodate. It's more of how much do you want to spend on that, because it's not just about how deep you're going to have to dig now. You're going to have to upgrade motors because usually a bigger car is heavier.
Vehicle,
yeah, there's just so many things that it impacts.
Wow. I never thought about it all in that, but you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make, if you're lifting vehicles then.
Right. See, cars are exciting, right?
I think the first time I was in a garage that I thought was the most interesting one was it was actually in Oakland. Mm-hmm. There was an old freight elevator for the first 4 or 5 floors of the garage.
Uh-huh. Instead of a ramp, it was using a car elevator.
It wasn't even a car elevator.
Oh.
It was like a freight elevator, like an old freight elevator.
Oh, really?
Well, the valets used it.
Uh-huh.
You weren't able to use it like yourself as a person in the building, but yeah, there's a few of those out there like that.
I am seeing that more and more. And I'm sure, as people are thinking about how do we design a garage today that we can repurpose later. Part of that is you're going to want flat floors, right? And the ramp. Sure. So you're starting to see more people go, well, if we don't do fully automated and we keep our drive aisles, maybe we replace the ramps with car elevators, so that way each deck is completely flat with, X amount of clearance, that we can later use that for future office space as the car demand decreases.
Wow. I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's a big part of the business right now is looking at a space and go, how do we give you the cars you need today with the understanding that it's probably overparked as it is for today and will only continue to perhaps decrease.
Because you don't need ramps in the facilities you build.
You don't. Sorry. Didn't mean to smack my teeth. Okay. So you don't need them in a full, there's no concrete slabs in a fully automated system. It's just all steel rack and rail. I know you saw the West Hollywood one, which is not our project, and our systems are just all rack and rail. Okay. So you don't have those slabs.
It was interesting. I think the building code hadn't quite caught up with a fully automated garage at that point, or that one, because they made them put like walkways and full lighting and everything in there. So that
is the one thing that changes city to city is how they want the system fire protected.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So depending where you're at, they're going to have different requirements.
They had to be stairs and all those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which we don't like so much, but you got to do what you have to do.
So the codes will catch up at some point.
Yeah.
And they'll start making allowances for it as you become more.
Yeah. We've already started to see some changes here in LA. They're pretty stringent compared to most areas.
LA is a challenging place.
It is. I say that with a smile. I got to do business here, so I have to play nice.
I know. I agree too. But, my goodness.
It is tough.
It is, especially when permitting is involved and everything. But if you're mostly working, when you're selling, is it mostly to the owner of the building or the general contractor or the architect? Like who holds your contract usually?
It's funny because, again, that also depends where you're at. In Northern California, we're almost always contracting with the GC because they're already designing it with it in the building, and they've accepted this way of parking for a very long time. Whereas in LA, they're catching on to this parking now, but they really rely on our expertise to kind of guide them through the process. So I come in earlier. Exactly. So usually I'm contracting with the developer directly. Down here is more common. Sense.
So give me the pitch. Like, so I'm going to build a new office tower here. Why would I do this over traditional? Is it all cost savings?
It is cost savings. So even if you're not going down, let's just say you're going up, and parking takes up a lot of space. So even if you have the space, if I'm able to give you more parking in the same amount of space, that's often very attractive. But more importantly, I can give you space back, and you're going to make a whole lot more money renting office space than parking my vehicle, even when it's paid parking.
So what's the average reduction in square footage required?
I would say it's 60 to 80%. It really is. We have this, depending on which system you use. So you kind of have to give a range. We have this fully automated tower in Oakland, and it's on a 1,600 square foot pad. So that's 80 by 20. And it was, just to kind of put it in perspective, it was only 7 surface spaces. So we put a tower on there, went straight up, and we have 39 cars on there. You can't get 39 cars any other way on.
Wow, it's such a small space.
Yeah.
So what do you do to make that look pretty?
Well, that's where your architect comes in. Unless you love the industrial look where you go, that is really pretty. I love all that steel.
But you're capable of doing something to make it look
absolutely. You can, you figure our structure is a steel structure, and you could attach your cladding to our system. Okay. So really at that point it goes, okay, well, what is your budget? What do you want it to look like? And that's where your crafty architect comes in and
tries to figure out something better.
Yeah, makes it look good.
So 39 cars where there were 7 spaces. That's pretty amazing.
It's 55 feet tall, and it's very cool to see. We put glass all along the front of it, so you can see as the car's rotating going up. Yeah, it's a very cool project.
So that was a surface lot?
Yeah, that was exactly. That was a surface lot. So what it serves is office during the day.
Okay.
And what it allowed the client to do was his office parkers were taking all of the parking space, the surface spaces, and around there's a lot of restaurant, bars, nightlife, things like that, or just shopping during the day. So he was able to make more money by taking all of his employees off of the lot, put them in this tower, and just turn that parking lot for paid parking. Wow. That's where he really is generating that revenue.
So I mean, that's just a great idea to take, like where someone's thinking about building a structure on an existing surface lot and just putting one of these in place.
Yeah, exactly.
And is the cost savings compared to building a structure? Is it like not even close, or is it?
So when you said, are you putting it out in farm town or farmland or whatever? What I say is, if you have all the land in the world and not all in the world, but if you have the space, we're not going to be cheaper than a concrete garage, right? The land has to be worth something to you.
Okay.
What we're going to do is say, you know what? Instead of taking up an acre to park your 300 cars, we're going to park that same 300 in a quarter of an acre, right? And then now,
it's the retail space, obviously, is more valuable too.
Exactly. Sure. But yeah, there is so if you're doing a traditional parking garage and you're considering mechanical parking, your parking has to be costing you, at least, if it's just price to price, has to be costing you probably about $35,000 per space in order for the equipment to offset that cost.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're just pouring pavement on a surface lot, it's kind of hard to beat that.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
So if I have my car, let's just take that one lot you were talking about, the 39 cars and the 1,600 square foot, which is amazing. How long does it take me to get my car if it's at the worst
at the
possible?
Very
the
top.
very end.
Like, I believe we timed that one at the okay, yeah. So you have your best case and your worst case scenario, and that's part of our job. Also, is I say, well, what is your threshold, right? What's acceptable to you? Because I can think that somebody should be able to get their car in 90 seconds, and you say, you know what? I don't mind if they wait 2.5 minutes, whatever that is, and then we know how to design around that. But in the tower that you're talking about, if you're at the very top, it takes 2 minutes for that car to come down.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
which is less time than you driving down a ramped garage, right?
Well, it's also less time than it would take for the valet to go get it,
exactly,
or anything like that. So
exactly.
And how do I identify myself when I pull up to that? Like, how do I pull up to it? I park my vehicle in the space. I get out. How do I say?
That's where you come in with your system, integrating with our system. And you put the ticket in, and it goes, "Oh, I know who this car is."
Well, how about in that environment there?
So in that environment there, they are dedicated spaces. So the user does have a fob that they would use. Works like a remote control.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, and we have a project coming in Washington, and it's what they used to call the Texas donut wrap type of a project, where all your parking's in the center, and then all your units are around it.
Okay.
And in the center, instead of having your ramped concrete garage, we're putting 3 towers similar to the one I just described to you, with the 2 minutes at the top.
Okay.
And what we're doing on that one is camera vision. So as soon as you drive up, the camera looks at your license plate. It's already programmed in there. It knows, Lester needs, platform X because he wants to plug in. We also do car charging on the platforms.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, of course you would have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it'll call your space, and you don't have to do anything. You just have to appear.
Wow. So what technology are you using for LPR cameras? I'm only curious.
Hold on, let me call Brandon on my phone. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably just standard. Someone's normal camera. There's a lot of manufacturers out there.
Okay, yeah, I don't know he would definitely know. He's our CTO and anything.
We'll put it in the notes.
Exactly. Call Brandon. Can I phone a friend?
So, but you're focused primarily on this area here, the Los Angeles area.
Over to Denver.
So
I handle the Southwest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I'm either traveling between, here, Denver, and Oakland. I go there quite a bit as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, San Francisco. And what's the idea? Is there any idea to really get into the retrofit market at all, or is it just not a good fit for you?
No, in fact, LA is a perfect market for that in many ways, because try parking in Venice, right? There's just no parking. And so on, it makes sense for the surface lots. Yeah, for the surface lots you can, but in a building so our minimum, we need 12 feet clear in order to put a car on top of another vehicle. Typically, garages are designed at 9 to 10 feet. Just when you're doing a regular standard garage. Yeah. So it just doesn't leave you any room to add a lift, and they're not even a basic stacker.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes it very difficult.
And with City Lift, I first started seeing those basic single car stackers, or basically it was more like a row of 10 and then a stacker. Was that City Lift as well, or is that?
Was it down here?
I think I saw. Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay. There's other companies doing that part of it as well.
Yeah. There's some companies that really focus on the stacker market, and we happily sell them. We do offer that product, but we are really geared towards those that are looking to self-park.
Got it. Well,
Yeah, it's just, I wouldn't say it's just fancier. It just, it's, if you put them in order of evolution, right? You have your stacker, you have your puzzle system, and then you have your fully automated system.
Okay.
And the puzzle is perfect because it's right in the middle, kind of marries the two together, and it's also the middle price point.
Okay.
So the stacker is super cheap to purchase, but you're throwing a lot of operating cost on it.
Understood. So how many people does it take to manage a facility like that? So like, do you need people at all for like that one?
No.
So the 39 space one on.
So on that one, it's funny because it can be self-park and operate on its own because it's fully automated. However, and this is probably a perfect example for you, because it's actually the example I give all the time, is when you go to park in a surface parking lot and you have to go to the machine and pay for parking, and there's always people standing there trying to figure out how it works, and like, push the button, put in your space, right? So, and people are used to seeing those, and they still have trouble with them. So they do have a person outside the system, just like the West Hollywood garage does, to literally say, hit the button. Because people approach it very, they're like, am I doing this right? A trained user is totally different, right? But like someone who's just shown up, has never seen this before, it's not so mainstream yet that people go, oh, I know how to work this.
Okay. Got it.
So you gotta have, you don't have to be, if it's retail or something like that, you should have somebody there.
Makes sense. It's not the iPhone yet.
It's not the iPhone yet. Soon, right?
So how does someone get a hold of you? Like, what's the best way to reach out to you? And what's the right time to reach out to you? Is it like all the way back in like the architectural planning
you know what?
stages?
Yeah, the earlier the better. Now we have come in late into projects where they're hitting a water table, or some unforeseen cost has popped up and they really need to shift gears, or construction costs right now are just so high that people are constantly looking at a way to reduce cost, and parking is the most expensive part of the project. I don't know if you know that is the most expensive part of the project. So, they can contact us late in the game, but the earlier the better. So that even if you say, you know what, I have the parking right now, but what if I want to add parking later? What kind of things do I need to be thinking about?
Sure. So it's really about starting.
It's like a retrofit in reverse, right?
Yeah. Well, you want to just make sure you're designing the building from the ground up with the intent to utilize this kind of system.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I like it. And what's the best way to reach you?
Phone, email, go to the web. Or, we've worked really hard on making the website very user friendly. And so there's a lot of information there. There's lots of videos. There's spec sheets on there. But definitely engage us. I'm happy to, meet in person.
So what's the website?
Talk, cityliftparking.com.
Cityliftparking.com.
What? No one knows my phone number?
You have an email address? That's good.
Yeah, it's mkakuk@cityliftparking.com.
All right.
Should I give my phone number too?
Only if you want to.
Okay, 909-223-2672.
Very good. Cool. Well, thank you for being on the show. It was really informative.
Thank you. I really had fun.
Okay.
I thought I signed up for the whiskey one.
I know. Maybe next time.
You tricked me.
Only special people get it. Cool. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Having a great time doing this. If you're enjoying it, if you're getting value from it, please leave some feedback. Please subscribe. There's a lot of people listening, not as many subscribers. So if you could subscribe, comment, and share it. Please share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell everyone. Thanks.